Hello, and welcome to Inches and Cubes, a Warhammer 40k podcast presented by Encounter Wargaming. Our fearless hosts are me, Paul Mr. Fist Fowler,
Point and click Nick Kozlo,
and
Adam Truax, the truest axe to ever axe an axe.
And we'll be guiding you through our favorite parts of the hobby, so grab your cubes and come with us.
Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Inches and Cubes podcast. We are here, and just in case you missed last episode, go back and check it out. It was on the state of the Imperium.
Yeah, don't listen to this one until you've listened to that one. Like, just turn it off. Go back right now.
Also, you should probably find, a way to donate money to us, Patreon-wise. Nick has babies that are thirsty. So, just give us some money.
If you want to know what's up this episode, we're talking everything Necrons. So we're going to go through some fluff. Going to maybe do some rules. And we're going to have some fun with Necrons, too.
Yeah, a little bit of fun at the end.
Dun 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 dun.
Bam!
So, as per usual, we will go through games played and hobby progress.
Yeah.
Who wants to start?
Can I start?
Yeah.
I have no hobby progress.
Okay.
Go, Paul.
Hobby progress for me is, appropriately enough, open talking. Currently I'm drinking Henderson's Best from Henderson's Brewery.
And I'm enjoying a Cameron's Brewing Company Cosmic Cream Ale, which is very, very nice.
The Cosmic thing we'll tie in later. Or right now, I dug out an old Deceiver model that I had kicking around and painted it up. A ton of fun, actually, to really get into that model. Really difficult to dry brush that thing because it's fine cast.
Oh.
So it was just
I didn't even know they made those in fine cast.
Yeah. So I picked it up with winnings from one of the tournaments ages ago.
You want a tournament?
Yeah, right? Ages ago.
You power gamer.
That's me. But while I was dry brushing it, because I just did the Codex color scheme of bronze skin and kind of cream colored cloth, it's so bouncy. I had to just grab it halfway.
I just
up
picture flinching away from your brush as you're trying to dry brush it.
Well, no, it would just flop around, so I had to grab it halfway up the model, and oh god, this is already in the ditch.
Tell it who's boss.
Yeah, tell it who's boss. And really simple to do. Just basically the same recipe as my Custodes. It was fun to do a red base again. I had to go back to my notes. I have a notebook that I wrote down all of those sort of recipes, which is a great tip that if you're doing big armies or commissions or anything like that. Yeah, so that's what I did there.
And you changed them up a bit. What did you modify on them?
Oh, so I took the big jester horns that come out on the side, and I filled those over with green stuff. So he just has the one smooth sort of, I don't know, jester's cap horn head thing.
And what's his power level?
It's over 9,000. What's that guy's name in Dragon Ball Z?
Oh, I don't know. For anyone who hasn't seen this model, check out Mr. Fist on Instagram, and you'll see this thing. And if you're a fan of DBZ, you know what we're talking about.
Muju, something like that. Yeah. Anyways,
Majin Buu.
Yeah, there it is. Wait, what? Why do you know this?
Because I love Dragon Ball Z.
I was a huge anime fan.
I had no idea.
I'm actually not a big anime fan. It was just always on, and it was amazing.
Well, yeah. So that was the idea. Once I got going, I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm totally doing that. And then just picked out the eyes and the forehead slit in green. And that was my hobby progress.
Yeah, sweet.
Adam actually just gave me a bunch of models that I need to paint for somebody. There are a bunch of what's the company called?
Heresy Miniatures.
Heresy Miniatures. A bunch of ghouls, and they are
anatomically correct.
Yeah, fully functional, as Data might say.
And they're dead bodies that are anatomically correct.
Yeah, dead bodies that just got.
One of them's holding a dead baby.
Yeah.
And the other one is a dead baby. No, it's a child.
It's a toddler. Yeah, so anyways, that's something that I gotta look forward to painting. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, so we debated. We couldn't remember how far since we last recorded I got on my Primaris Marines. So they're just 100% done now. An entire starter set fully painted, all in wolves. Did their decals, all done, ready to go. And they're hilarious and amazing. I'll tell you about my game that I played with them after, but I love Astronaut Man.
Yeah, I've got all my Primaris built and base coated the cream color that I do them, and then I just got to come back in and do the yellow. But it was great priming weather today, so I did that this morning.
Oh, I forgot to tell you when we were at Sword and Board. Mm-hmm. Mark that down. That's more money for us.
Yeah, Sword and Board at Brock and Bloor.
When Connor and I were playing our game, you left early. Mm-hmm. Connor and I went up, and there was this guy like upstairs at the paint rack, just like racking his brain. He's like, I started this Imperial Fist army. I don't know how to paint yellow. I'm like, I don't know what colors to go. And I'm like, oh,
you just missed him. The guy who, 1, loves to talk to people, 2, loves to paint yellow.
Yeah, so Connor and I were just like, yeah, spray paint him cream, then yellow. Wait, no, that's not how he does it. And we're like, you know what? Just follow Mr. Fist on Instagram. He'll help you out.
And then so for commission-wise, just because I love saying that I painted Star Trek ships, I painted Star Trek ships.
Did you paint a Klingon DB9 heavy battlecruiser?
Dude, I have no idea what I painted, but they were all Klingon.
Probably a DB9 heavy battlecruiser.
Tell us more about a DB9 heavy battlecruiser, Nick.
Well, it was a heavy battlecruiser.
Okay. What?
And the Federation commissioned the Starship or Constellation class starships, the Enterprise A, to combat them in the first Klingon War. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. But that was when Klingons had smooth foreheads and golden skin.
That was like a thing where they were like genetically modifying them.
Yeah.
Like that comes up in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, in Deep Space Nine they do like an episode where they like green screen them back to the Trouble with Tribbles episode, and they're like, Worf, why don't these Klingons have... He's like, we don't like to talk about it.
We don't talk about it, yeah.
You can't ask me that. What's wrong with you? So the like we're totally off topic, but a buddy of mine works on the set of the new Star Trek show. He's like a carpenter.
Of Discovery?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so stoked.
And like, you know, he was like, yeah, I was building a bunch of like Klingon stuff a while ago. I was like, you have to tell me more. And like the just biggest dick, he was just like, yeah, I can't. I was like, you shouldn't even told me that.
Told me that.
He was like, yeah, no.
There's Klingons in Star Trek. this broke the internet. Back
awesome.
on our little round table. Games played.
Yeah, I guess that's all hobby, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, just other commissions, orcs, and other things.
More orcs?
Yeah, more orcs.
What else did you build? You built something.
Oh, Later Crusader. This for me.
Yeah.
For Luna Wolves, because, you know...
They don't have enough rides?
Because we, you know, forged that narrative and made that story, but 10,000-year-old Luna Wolves.
Yeah.
No, they're bat grown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Primaris ones are. The other ones survived. Loken's leading the charge.
He's dead. He's dead. I let it go.
He's
let
not
it
dead.
Go. Loken died.
He didn't.
Games played. I got my redemption against a guard army. It wasn't the same guard army that blew me off the table, but it made me feel a whole lot better about myself. I played my first game with Chaos Forge world models. I took the Whirlwind Scorpius and the Fire Raptor, and oh man, I was saying brap a lot.
Nick doesn't like friends.
I like the Scorpius has a nickname called the Friend Maker, and the Fire Raptor was ungodly in 7th edition, and now it's just brutal.
Yeah, like I got all caps text from you after you played it. You were like, "It is a god of war."
Yeah, it's got hover, so it just some of the ridiculousness with 8th, right? Like you drop into hover mode, you like unload everything, and everything is 24 heavy bolter shots, 10 Avenger mega bolter shots, and 4 missile launcher shots, and that's one unit just gone.
Oh,
mainly infantry. And then like you're just like, I charge that Leave and Rust battle tank with the Fire Raptor. Now you have to fall back.
Why? Just picture that.
I would just stay in combat with you because then you have to fall back.
Yeah, but
I have fly.
It flies. So
oh right.
So
You're so right.
That's what I want you to do.
Yeah.
So it was a good game. It was it was Search and Rescue, the one with the 4 objectives on the table. And
I just played that today.
Yeah, it's a fun mission. He had a strong army, but that mission was just way too spread out. Terrible rolls. He used Commissar Yark. My Terminators blew up a Chimera. He rolled a 6. Commissar Yark was standing right next to it and took 3 mortal wounds.
Oh man! I was gonna ask, like, how's Yarrick on the board?
I didn't really get it because, so he took 3 mortal wounds, and the Terminators just charged in and beat him to death. And like we were having this
So maybe that's your answer?
Yeah. We were having this conversation on our group chat about how to fit like the most command points in. And people are like, yeah, you're not really going to use more than 9. And Matt, who was my opponent, had 12 because he ran a brigade detachment or battalion detachment, whichever one's bigger.
Yeah.
So he had 12 command points, and he had none left at the end of the game.
Good.
He burned through all of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 every phase, and there's 1, 2, 3, 5 phases.
There's movement,
Psychic, shooting, charge, fight, morale. 6 phases every turn.
there's 6 phases.
Oh yeah, you
now.
could easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, but especially guard because you're always taking morale. Like
He had lots of commissars on the board, which was good. I think he may have failed 1, and it's like, oh, 1 guy dies. Because you get to use the commissar's leadership, which is 9, and then the maximum amount of models you can lose to a morale check is 1. But yeah, it was a fun little game. Definitely excited to play more Chaos. What about you, Paul? Played any games?
I have not played any games. I scheduled 2 games. That sort of counts. I've got Jesse coming up with my league game, so I'm probably going to bring my Imperial Fists. And then the low-down dirty coward, Connor Colley, has agreed to play me this Sunday. I'm going to play that Guard Army. I'm going to bring my Necrons. If you're hearing this on Friday, Connor, I'm coming for you, and I'm bringing hell with me.
You called him out last episode, too.
I know, and he was a yellow belly weak man and couldn't fit me in. Yeah, that's right, Connor. You're a yellow belly weak man.
lots of Tesla.
A little bit of Tesla.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you bring umbrellas? Because you're going to fight in the shade. That doesn't make sense. Never mind.
No.
I retract that statement. That doesn't make any sense.
You know what?
Our conscripts will blot out the sun.
Pretty much.
I'll edit that out as well.
Little itty bits of conscripts flying through the air. That's blot out the sun.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm bringing the Satan just to blow up those conscripts.
Catan?
Catan?
Satan?
Satan? Adam, do you have any games that you played that
Yes.
you want to talk about?
Okay, I'll highlight 2 of them. So one of them was the multiplayer battle from the rulebook.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of fun. It was over by turn 2.
Who won?
I did.
You were playing against 2 noobs. That was the way you introduced them? Like, you 2 fight amongst each other, and I'm going to take both of you on while you 2 fight.
No. It was almost like that. Not quite like that. So I had them play against each other first, and I taught them how to play. And then we all played the multiplayer game after. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I took my Primaris Marines. Just the starter set, we each did 1,000 points. One guy was doing like a Black Templar style Marine army, and then another dude is doing Chaos. And basically, you can deploy like right next to each other because the entire table is a deployment zone except for 9 inches of the center. Mm-hmm. And the only objective is in the middle. And so you essentially deploy right beside the person next to you if you're deploying
If you want.
right by the objective.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have the whole square to
So it's
deploy.
not set up in table quarters?
It is. It's table quarters,
Oh, okay.
right?
right,
but
right.
your entire table quarter is your deployment
Yeah.
zone. And so it's right next to the other dudes.
Nice.
And so I deploy all of my regular Primaris Marines, what are they called? Intercessors, as just a big shield around the rest of my army. And I had to fight an entire unit of Lightning Claw Terminators turn 1 because they're an inch away already.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the game.
Oh, good God.
So needless to say, they all died, but then they got blasted in the face by Hellblasters and punched them by my Primaris Captain, who's better than a Demon Prince, and yeah, he's so good.
Oh, yeah?
How's he better than a Demon Prince?
Because he hits on 2s, he has more attacks than a Demon Prince.
Oh,
he can reroll his hits because of him,
Right.
reroll his wounds because of the Lieutenant,
Ugh.
and if he ever dies on a 4-up, he fights one more time because of the banner. Anyways, so then Jack and Justin, the Chaos and the Black Templar guy, collide in the middle because I'm stuck fighting these Terminators. Finally wipe out the Terminators and just come in with the whole rest of my army after my astronaut men drop down.
Astronaut men?
I just love calling them astronaut men.
What do they look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look like they should be holding space construction equipment, not guns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Except they have 2 heavy bolters each.
Yeah.
Ben,
Ridiculous. 2 heavy bolters each.
I was talking to Ben. He wants to model a bunch so it looks like they're grinding on rails because of their big shoes.
Yeah, rollerblades, just like green stuff, some little balls in it.
Yeah. Dope as hell.
He was talking like strippers.
Oh, those kind of rails.
No.
No,
We're
he was
about,
talking
like,
skateboard
Yeah,
rails.
like
grind rails.
yeah.
I
In a
heard,
skate park.
pole, not rails. Never mind.
Go to sleep, Nick.
Yeah.
I'm going to once we're done here.
Well, I mean,
I still can't look at Paul. I really can't.
how come? What happened?
Because you shaved off your beard and kept a really weird mustache this morning. And it's still...
It's not a weird mustache. I feel like it's.
You parting it.
Well, I mean, that's just the way my face goes.
Just for reference for you guys, just Google Dallas Green, and that's what Paul looks like right now.
Can't help it. I love this mustache. So much of the authority that I command comes from the power above this lip.
No, it's the whole beard.
Oh, shoot.
Yep.
Well, I'm growing it back as fast as I can.
At a rate of 1 centimeter per hour.
If you're very quiet, you may hear some background noise. That's my beard.
Yeah. So my second game, which I actually probably shouldn't highlight, was I just played it a couple hours ago, which is why it's on my mind. Just did my sisters against a man named Con Or in preparation for the
His name's Connor.
Decimation of Con Or campaign. And he played Chaos with a bunch of Raptors, and he's trying to figure out his 7th edition army and how it's compatible with 8th. Just hadn't quite figured it out yet. Dropped down the Raptors, and they just don't have the punch that I think he was expecting.
They never have.
They used to be pretty good. They used to be like a fearsome thing.
No, they've always only had 2 base attacks.
Yeah, I suppose, but like you could sort of feel no pain on them. You could goose them a little bit, but
Did he remember his death to the false emperor on you?
He did.
Nice.
He did indeed. Yeah.
yeah, and like we were kind of discussing with him, I watched this game, or the end of it. We were discussing that Raptors now exist more as just a straight up harassment unit. You get in there and assault a Lehman Russ. Now that thing's not shooting. Like you're not taking wounds off of it, but you.
Yeah, I would take him in squads of 5 with a meltagun and just run around the board with them.
Well, you could take 2 Meltiguns.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because like
you drop down, try and blow off 2d6 wounds off a tank.
Yeah.
If you can make it, charge it.
Yep.
So that it can't shoot you. You can put that sorcerer down with a jump pack to make sure you get the charge.
Yeah.
Even on if
You
you,
don't
could
even-
charge
you
2
don't even-
units or something.
you don't
or
even
just-
need to drop down though. If you're going first with Chaos and Chaos is super elite, you take the
12-inch
sorcerer with the
move.
jump pack. You're going 12 inches, then casting warp time, then going another 12 inches.
Yeah, you don't even need a sorcerer
you
with a
don't.
jump pack at that point.
No, I'm saying you do, but you don't need to like drop down and keep him in reserve. You just
Right.
be
And
in
I-
somebody's face right away.
That was part of the problem too. Is he tried a big flank push where he dropped it all on one flank and tried to sweep through, and he chose my stronger flank, and it just folded.
Well, it's tough. I mean, like with my first game against you, I remember you're like, my penitent engines do this, and I'm like, oh no, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Also, like digging into the weak flank sometimes is dangerous too, because like you'll end up with someone who set up a really good folding flank, where
They come in on you after.
it's like go ahead, eat that like
That was the plan.
razorback, and then you're facing down in range guns of the entire like other side of the army.
Yeah.
So it's it is there. You can bait people if you want to get like tacticky.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to play the game.
Especially with sisters, where you have your faith that you can move your whole army around and do some crazy stuff. So.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like the idea of committing your forces where the fighting's thickest. Sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
The
you
trick
do.
was with the stronger flank. It was also where the objectives were not.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So
No, it
he
doesn't.
definitely should have gone weaker flank with the objectives.
was he,
Other Connor, what are you doing?
was he using noise marines?
Yes. So it was a unit of 10 noise marines and a unit of 5 noise marines.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love noise marines. They're so good.
Okay.
They just are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their damage output is the same as 30 tactical marines.
Yeah, they're
Like when you
So good.
when you crunch the numbers, you're like, yeah, it's the same as 30 tactical marines for like a third of the price,
Yeah.
and also with other fun stuff.
yeah. This is why I hate your army. I hate playing it.
Actually, Connor, if you ever listen to this, both your dropping units, the one should not have flamers because the flamers are never in range. Just put meltas on both units.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't take flamers with drop podding units. That's why Deathwatch suck in drop pods.
Why are you taking flamers? Oh, because
Yeah,
you
the
heard
frag cannons have
Yeah.
the frame.
You heard it here first, folks.
I'm retooling my army. Don't worry.
That's our.
Watch are going to be big, baby. They're going to be so big you don't even going to know how big they are.
You're gonna get tired of winning. Should we say something about the fact that we're doing episode 8th edition? That made sense, right?
Oh, did you just come up with that now?
Yeah, we probably should have just switched the order of these, where we did Necrons and then State of the Imperium.
If you're here and you've listened to all 7 episodes and have started listening to this, what are you doing? Why are you still listening? No, but seriously, if you're still listening after 8 episodes, we'd really love for you to go on iTunes, Google Play, wherever you are, and drop us a review.
Yeah.
It's going to bump us up in the notifications and ratings, and then maybe more people will download us. And then maybe they'll leave reviews. And then maybe more people will download us.
And they tell 2 friends. And they tell 2 friends.
And they tell 2 friends.
Yeah, you're supposed to jump in on that one, Adam.
And then we make money off of advertisers. Which means we can do more for you guys out in podcast land.
I'll do anything.
We'll have better content.
Yeah.
It's true. It won't just be the 3 of us talking. There'll be sound effects.
We're going to go get the old BBC lab where they did all those like weird synth stuff.
Yeah, we could have like a soundscaped episode.
Oh, God. Yeah, we could hire a Foley artist to sit in the back.
Or Michael Winslow.
Oh, God.
I think I killed Paul. We're going to come back to you with our main topic after he gets resuscitated.
Battle Brothers Studios, a commission painting service passionate about making your miniatures and your gaming table look great. Our philosophy at Battle Brothers is this: your army is our army. Every model will be something you can be proud to show off. Send us a message on facebook.com/Battle Brothers Studios for a free quote and make that dream project come to life. We also have something special planned for the release of 8th edition of 40K. Right now, get 20% off if you commission us to paint an 8th edition starter set, or get a 10% off Army Bundle bonus for painting up your new 8th edition 40K Army. Inquire with us on Facebook for full details.
Hogtown 40K, a club for all Warhammer gamers. $20 gets you early access to fun events, club swag, and the privilege of knowing us.
Yeah, it's a dubious privilege.
We play Saturdays at the Sword and Board, and keep an eye out for our Lethal Lottery doubles event on July 22nd. It's 1,250 points. You get randomly paired up with a new player each round, so come on out, meet new people, and have fun.
And we'll probably go to Duffy's after. Woo!
All right, and for our main topic today, we're covering Necrons, like we said, and we're going to go over...
For context, we just discussed this, and I was like, all right, Nick, when we come back, you're going to take us through this. And as soon as Adam hit the button, he's like, boom, out of my way. Just Leroy Jenkins right
Because
into
I had a whole thing to say. I was going to be like,
yeah.
welcome back to the Inches and Cube podcast. Thank you for joining us after our break. Today we're going to be discussing Necrons. Yes, it's exactly what happened, Adam. You ruined everything.
You're like, Adam, Nick...
Yeah, we're like, dude, you're like, Nick, you want to take it? And I was like, yeah.
This happened minutes ago. Not even minutes.
It hasn't been a full minute yet.
So I looked at you and I pointed at me and I said, okay, that wasn't me saying Nico.
Yeah, it was.
We gotta work on
Should we start this again?
No.
No, we're keeping it in.
No.
We're not editing around this.
All right.
People... I mean, we already edited out that thing with the fish. We edited out the pizza guy coming. So, I mean, we can't go back.
So, Necrons.
Yep.
The Terminator. An entire army of Terminators.
That's doing them a disservice.
It's what their aesthetic was. It always was. And I mean, you look back at the old warrior models, they got that stupid grinning face.
Oh yeah, but like, Adam, what are you drinking
This is
there?
a Mill Street Organic Lager.
That's a classic. That's a Toronto classic.
It
man.
is.
It
It's
is.
delicious. So the aesthetic of the models is really funny to see how that changed. So they came out, I guess, end of 2nd edition was when their first models came out. I remember...
they were bad.
Well, they were bad up until the Immortals came out. So they had like a really... even from the beginning, had an Egyptian sort of flair. So I don't think that The Terminator analogy doesn't quite fit.
No, it does. It does. If anyone who sees Necrons are like,
Terminator.
where's Arnold's skin?
The second edition ones, it wasn't obvious. Maybe it was in the fluff, but it wasn't obvious on the model.
Well, they had like collars and like these like turquoise.
They did.
Collars.
They were very much like pharaohs.
Yeah,
Pharaons.
I remember I got I got this flyer that had.
This is before the internet, folks.
This is way before, well, not before the internet, but it was when I was in Labrador as a little kid, filling out a mail order thing to get models
And 3D X-ray glasses.
Well, I mean, I ordered the glasses.
You guys remember the Skulls program?
I do
remember the Skulls program.
It was like impossible to get anything.
No, my friend
Spending,
had
like,
3 full booklets because we had a deal. We were like, there was a group of about 6 or 8 of us in elementary school who we would just share Skull booklets. And then we forgot about it. And then I remember he's like, yeah, I've got like 3 full booklets, which is like 150.
Holy moly.
And then...
Did he get that, like,
No,
dope?
they canceled the program.
But I remember I got this circular that was, like, on yellow paper, and it had this, like, really grainy image of, like, when they released the first Immortal model, and it was on the same piece of paper that had Cypher when his model was released, so it was, like, middle of 3rd edition. I remember I called the Trolls because they had, like a 1-800 number you could call an order and like just
called the Trolls.
Yeah, the GW Trolls.
Oh, that's right.
So I called them. I was like,
not the same trolls that are in your YouTube comments.
No. And I was like, what the heck is this? And
do you
like,
have any?
No, they're pretty good.
Yeah. And they were like,
it's just Paul and I trolling us.
Yeah, it's very sad. But yeah, I was like, what the heck is this model? And they were like, 1, it's a Necron. 2, want to know how we made that picture? We just put the model on the photocopier. They were like, and it turned out cool.
That would turn out cool.
So their aesthetic has changed. You can see stuff like the old destroyers sort of moved into what the Tomb Blades are. So it was like a bike-ish thing piloted.
It was a robot sitting on a robot, as Adam said earlier.
Yeah. I have problems with that design choice. But, you know.
I just thought of a cool analogy.
What?
It's like R2-D2 in an X-Wing.
That's a metaphor.
Yeah. No, this is more like a bicycle driving a car.
Bicycle's not a robot.
Can't do anything. There's a car for this metaphor.
It's like a drone driving a bigger drone.
Yeah, there we go. We've got it.
Why wouldn't you just get the bigger drone to just drive itself? Anyways, Necrons, they've been around for a long time, and I think Necrons have to be one of the armies that I think has evolved the most in the course of 5 editions, 6 editions now, if we're going from late 2nd to early 6th, early 8th, because remember, like, Necrons started with, like, I think you had Warriors, Destroyers.
No, you have Warriors, Destroyers, Scarabs, and Lords.
And a Monolith.
Not.
Are you talking second? Paul's talking second.
He's talking second. I'm talking 3rd, right? So they started off with like not a lot. Then they added the monolith, and that's all they had.
And made the models up to date, multi-part plastic, posable. Yeah.
I just remember my first game against them with like Khorne Berserkers, and I'm like, I can't hurt that monolith. But it was something like you don't get any bonus to armor pack,
right?
So it's just your strength plus D6. So melta-guns, lances, nothing could touch this thing.
Yeah, and like for those of you born in the 90s, which is weirdly like some people that we know,
do you know anybody born in no
Raph
in the 2000s?
Oh,
what do we even call them? The aughts?
Who cares? I'm just gonna alienate a huge member of our audience. Who cares?
Generation Z just
But it was fine that the monolith was nigh indestructible because Necrons had this old rule called phase out.
Yes, phase out.
Where if you killed 75% of the model count that had the Necron rule,
right,
the entire army would like disappear.
This is an auto lose.
Yeah,
it's an auto lose for the Necrons.
Tabling.
Which
do you remember the first question you would ask every Necron player when you played them?
How many models do you have?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your phase out number?
Yeah. What's your phase out number?
Did I hit it yet?
Yeah. So that was how they mitigated that. In 4th edition, that went away.
Yeah.
And thankfully, And then through 4th and 5th, they didn't really get a ton of new models.
No, but back to my original point, what I would
sorry.
like to... No, it's fine. We expanded on it. It's all good, man.
Okay.
Don't apologize. Apologize for shaving your beard, not for that.
For revealing a delicious mustache.
I know. My mom said, you don't need to grow a beard. You have a strong chin. And I grew a beard anyways.
Not me. I've got the chin of a lamprey.
But I think that the Necrons fluff have, like, really kept up with how their model line has expanded, right? Because they started off as, like, the super enigmatic, with no personality robots, and then slowly, as more models have come out, more units have come out, they've really expanded into, you know, not the most characterful army, but definitely they have their own character now. They didn't used to have that. They used to be like, do you remember Dawn of War, the video game?
Yeah.
They literally didn't talk.
Well, it was funny. The weigh-in for the Dawn of War video games was a pariah, which we were discussing before the show started. The pariahs, conceptually the models moved and became like the Triarch Praetorians. You know,
Yeah, they definitely did.
it was one of the coolest concepts in the entire game, where it's the Necrons.
So maybe we should talk about what Necrons are before we start getting into all that crazy biotransference mumbo jumbo.
Well, I mean, before that, I'm going to need a drink.
And what is Paul drinking now?
Currently, I'm drinking a Cameron's Brewing Oakville, Ontario Amber. It is a delicious red ale, and it works. Gets you drunk.
The wild black bear has a lot in common with our amber ale.
I don't believe that.
No, you know what? I've never seen a black bear in a can. So, moving right along. So we're going to discuss a little bit about
Unless you're Trazen.
We'll get to that. So the Necrons are one of the few armies in 40k that really nail cosmic horror. I think that they tried it with the Tyranids, but
They're too buggy.
yeah, they're too buggy. They're too...
Because they're a life form. Right? Tyranids are very much a corporeal life form. They're not some shadow entity. They're, oh my god, there's giant bugs.
In time well before history, was it 6 billion years ago? Is that 6 million years ago? Million years ago? There was a race called the Necron. And they, you know, in all the fluff, you know it, they had short, brutish lives, apparently very susceptible to radiation, did not live long because of whatever reason. A couple of reasons have been posited, either like radiation from their stars or just genetic defects. But they were a super aggressive race because of that. So they had like empires that expanded well beyond normal means and normal speed. So once they sort of conquered everything that they could, infighting started. And then the Silent King, not wanting to see his entire race torn to shreds through civil war, starts a war with the Old Ones.
So you're saying that to distract from domestic problems, leaders focus on external problems as a kind of focal point for a collective.
So here's the thing. There were no weapons of mass destruction held by the Old Ones. However, what the Old Ones did have was immortality. And they would not share this because they were like, we don't want a race as brutal and terrifying as the Necron sticking around forever. So they were like, this thing will take care of itself. We'll just let it...
But would they be brutal if they live forever?
Well, turns out yes. So what they did is they started a war with the Old Ones, and it wasn't going well until they discovered the Satan, which are these star gods that were eating stars. And through whatever means, they convinced the Satan or Catan, however you want to pronounce it, to like how delicious life force could be. Yeah. So like stars suck, but stars are like puffed wheat.
Black holes suck.
So it's with their living metal technology. They like captured one and put it into this like corporeal form, and then that started like eating the Necron tier. But they I don't know, they some sort of mutually
they loosed them on the Old Ones, right? They were like, listen, you could eat us. Like star energy is like puffed wheat, but like actual living things, that's like Fruit Loops. That's
we're gonna build a new body.
It's gonna be the biggest body. You're going to be tired of eating life force. So, anyways, they defeat the old ones, and it's like kind of thrown out in some of the fluff that the favorite children of the old ones were the Eldar, but in their attempt to like make races to fight the Necrotyr, they made the Orcs as well. So depending on that's I think 3rd edition fluff.
Yeah, which I like because one race calls them the old ones.
Yep.
The Eldar have another stupid name for them that probably sounds like gibberish.
Yep.
And the Orcs called them the Brain Boys.
Yeah, like
Them's the smarts.
Because they got the brains.
So like that's sort of the idea.
I love how making these races is like putting into plan 1,000 to 10,000 year like plan.
Oh yeah.
Well, probably longer.
Millions of years.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, because the old one, like the War in Heaven, we talked about that. I was zoned out for a second there.
Yeah, we mentioned it. That's
Okay.
the fight between
That happened like 3 million years ago.
and last.
So
We didn't name it though,
Oh, it's called the War in Heaven, my dudes,
and that was between the Necron and the Satan
and the old ones.
The old ones.
So that's when the Satan come in.
Yeah.
Once the old ones are defeated, to defeat them, the Necrontyr agree to the biotransference, which all of their physical bodies are destroyed and they're transferred into what we now know as a Necron warrior. And the horrifying thing about this is that's the entire race are Necron warriors. So it's like me and you and Nick and that kid down the street and like his mom, we're all warriors. So it's like babies in warriors. Like it's just bananas. Like
Well, not everyone got turned into warriors.
no, some people were eaten by star gods.
Well, no, I mean, you had, it was divided along class lines, as most things are.
Well, I got bad news, my man. You're not part of the gentry.
Oh, God. No, I am part of... Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, no, I ain't no bougie.
Like, I don't know. I can't be the one to tell you this.
No, I'm not arguing that point. My point is that divided along class lines,
Yes.
the lower classes got put into the warrior bodies, and then the leaders...
Yeah,
whatever
so
they are.
The military ended up in the immortal bodies.
Yeah, and as we go up the chain, they have more and more sentience.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a very good point to bring up. And then like royalty, that's your overlords, your lords.
Yeah.
Scientists were cryptex.
Yeah.
And then once they had this power, the Silent King was just like, oh, this was a really bad deal for my people. So they...
But they found out that, but
they did not, like, they didn't know the bargain.
so the biotransference, though. Again, my terrible understanding of the Necron fluff. From my understanding was while there were these giant soul furnaces, where basically bodies were live bodies. I don't even know what the soul furnace is. It could just be a terrible metaphor for a crazy machine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna picture it as a giant furnace.
Yeah.
That people jumped into.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how Lord Xenu captured all the Thetan bodies, and yeah, no, we're not going to get into Scientology on this podcast.
We might.
You just did.
We just did. So basically, like the Necrontyr sacrificed themselves and died, and then their souls were sucked up by a giant vacuum, and then some of that was transferred into new bodies, and some of it was eaten by the star gods.
Correct.
Okay, so
So
all planned out by the Deceiver.
right. So the Deceivers,
hence the name.
the Deceivers, just like super pumped about this. Also known by the Eldar as the Jackal God, perhaps.
They speak English.
Well, according
They
to
have jackals in the webway and craft worlds.
yeah,
No, that doesn't make sense.
it makes
By
perfect sense.
translation into English.
Yeah.
It's an animal. They have no point of reference for it.
There's a
Closest equivalent thing.
No, there's this whole thing in the 3rd edition codex where it's a Inquisitor watching a Harlequin troop dance the whole biotransference story, and how like the Deceiver will like convince them, and then the Deceiver starts to eat his brothers, or convince his brothers to eat them. That's the old fluff. What happens to the Satan in the current fluff is the Silent King realizes that he has made a very bad deal, very worst deal in the history of deals, and they turn on the Satan.
Why is this a thing in this episode?
I don't know.
Like, really feeds into it, being misled by a demagogue.
Yeah. We're gonna stay apolitical.
No, we've already crossed that line.
Yeah. So they break the Satan bodies into shards. That's why the Satan in your codex are referred to as shards.
Now. Which is the new fluff.
Right. There are a bunch of different Satan mentioned. There's the Outsider, who was the first and craziest, I think, found. There's the Void Dragon, which, according
doesn't exist.
Yeah, according to some people, is sealed up on Mars. There's the Nightbringer, which in the old fluff was the reason that most races feared death. So they were like really leaning on the idea of like these cosmic horrors just being like fundamental to this universe.
Very much Egyptian god style stuff, right?
Yeah. Which like goes to the Lovecraftian sort of thing.
Nick, tell us, what are you drinking?
Adam, today I'm drinking Pale Rider by Amsterdam Brewery. It's a perfect match of a smooth, crisp lager with a robust IPA.
Yeah, it's got a skeleton cowboy on the label. I picked it up because of today's topic.
It's got El Dorado and Amarillo hops, and it brings a flavor to the beer like no other. It's quite nice.
Also,
that's one way to market your stuff, eh?
But that's like
this has flavor like no other.
That's like the laziest copywriting ever.
So lazy.
Yeah, like getting back to the Lovecraftian thing. It's unimaginable horror. It's like, well, that's a pretty easy thing to write. Like, but
like the front of your Necron codex, you're like the Necrons,
flavor like no other,
robots like no other.
Yeah, they're not robots.
Are they androids?
Don't tell me what to think.
They're constructs. What would you?
They're not androids.
No,
because androids insinuates that they like have their own consciousness rather than cyborgs.
Yeah,
soul cyborgs.
This is so grimdark.
Because they have souls transferred into these robot bodies, so they're not cyborgs.
Or is it just consciousness devoid of a soul? Because who knows?
Maybe that's what the Star Gods ate, was the soul part.
There it is.
And then they just transferred the consciousness into them.
And that's why the idea of the warp is so terrifying, because they don't understand it and have no way to access it.
It's clear that soul power is the only way we can move forward as a society. Screw green energy.
Okay.
Coal's dead.
I'm going to get
soul power is the only way forward.
I'm going to get Parliament on the phone. We're going to get funky up in here.
I've got this idea for soul furnaces.
Now hear me out. I'm not evil.
But
alright. I've got the mustache. I'm pulling dad mode. We need to get back on track.
Do it.
So after the Satan are destroyed, the Necrons have taken huge losses. They've defeated 2 godlike races at this point. So to rebuild their numbers, the Silent King decides that they are going to go into a hibernation for a couple of million years.
How does that rebuild their numbers, though?
So the Forge Worlds, the Tomb Worlds are just like...
Where are they getting more consciousness from?
Well, it's the idea of the reanimation protocols. It's just rebuilding stuff. Like
kind of like resurrection ships from BSG.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Part of the whole they still keep part of the phase out thing, right? Because they don't actually get destroyed. They phase back to their tomb world.
Like one of the coolest parts of the fluff is always that you will never find a Necron body.
Yeah.
The minute a Necron warrior goes down, the entire thing teleports back to the tomb world.
Yeah.
You never, no vehicles, no nothing. It all gets sucked back to wherever they are.
So that's like they're rebuilding their numbers, they're biding their time, and now in our current age, for a couple of thousand years, they've
M2.
Is that the first? No.
That's where we are now.
Yeah. So sorry.
M41.
Yeah, you start to see them coming back in a bigger way. If you're reading heresy stuff, you'll notice that there's like hints towards Necrontyr technology. It's postulated that Alferis' spear is Necron technology, the pale spear.
Yeah, and the lion's sword is also Necron. It used to be called the Satan Phase Blade, and they've kind of upgraded that a little bit.
Did he find it somewhere?
It's Lionel Johnson's sword.
No, they were 2 different weapons, because Cypher had a Satan Phase knife, and in the fluff, he tried to assassinate a planetary governor with it, and the governor absorbs the knife and then turns into a shard of the deceiver, and it's like, lol, I just wanted that tiny bit of me back.
Oh no!
And Cypher's like,
oh crap!
this
Dang it.
magnificent bastard.
Yeah.
Like, to get one over on
I was out Cypher.
Yeah, like, to get one over on Cypher is, you have to be a star god.
And then in the old fluff, I think the Calidus assassin also had a Satan phase knife.
Yeah.
She does.
Mm-hmm. So, like, all of that was recovered technology.
Yep.
From, different explorators and stuff like that. But now, the fun part about what you were talking about, how the fluff has evolved with the models, they mention in all the codexes that the most numerous dynasty is the Sawtek. That's the one that Imhotep, the Stormlord, leads, and their colors are like that turquoise and green and metallic.
I do quite like that.
So the idea is, like, a lot of people, a lot of Imperial citizens, just that's what a Necron is,
Yeah.
and they think that that's what they all are.
Yeah.
However, there are dynasties,
Yeah.
And dynasties sort of act like clients to larger dynasties, so like serving fealty and stuff like that.
So dropping out of the established fluff for a second, I want to do a huge shout out to one of our club members, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Jim has a fantastic Necron army. So Jim actually went out and bought blue rods. So if you guys know Necrons, they always have the green rods and the green paneling. So Jim sourced blue clear plastic rods, and he's done his entire Necron army with the fluff, and they all have native Inuit names. All the units do, their whole fluff does. It's really well done. It's like metal with like a blue ink tinge.
That's really cool.
So they look like,
A little bit of gold in there, maybe?
I think so, like
Yeah.
snow Necrons.
Played it against it once.
Yeah. So he did a really good job on that.
And he has, like, everything.
Yeah.
He has, like, the massive, like, Forge World terrain piece, too, and, like, all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, he did that with all plastic
Yeah.
tubes. So we're going to talk about models later, but talking about dynasties, just I wanted to get that in there.
Yeah, no, Jim's army's cool. He has that big Forge World Realm of Battle tile.
Yep.
Which, if you've ever played the Astronomicon mission with it,
Trying to antagonize me?
mm-hmm.
You're trying to bait me, eh?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
Look at this mustache. This can bait anything.
You can't wiggle it, though. No, you're wiggling your whole face. You're not wiggling the mustache. Doesn't count.
Yeah, this is why podcasts remain a auditory medium.
Experience.
Yeah.
We could do a Facebook live cast for our fans, all three of them.
For Connor, and
Nick.
Yeah. Hey, Nick. Nick told us that he listens to this as he's going to sleep, and
Different Nick, not me.
Yeah, not
Although I do listen to my own voice when I go to sleep.
Yeah,
That's just weird.
I think we should start slipping subliminal messages into Nick.
That's it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Like, when
Give us free models.
Free models.
free models,
Free models.
free models,
Free models.
free models.
Did it work yet?
Beer. Okay. I thought you were supposed to be Dad here.
Yeah, well, you know what? You gave Dad a couple of beers. So yeah, that's kind of where we've ended. The Silent King still exists in this. I'm hoping that we get a model for him in 8th edition. Just the idea of like a huge faction overlord kind of fits with the way that the models have been going.
Like the Primarch-ish type thing.
Right. Like, I think that would be really cool. I'm not going to hold my breath. But as the Silent King is trying to enforce his will, he sends out the Triarch Praetorians, and these are the enforcers. They kind of make sure that all the Necrons are doing what the Necrons ought to be doing.
So they're not loyal to the dynasty that they're part of.
No, they
They're
are
loyal.
loyal to the race.
Okay.
So, and in the intervening years, some people, some of the overlords and the pharaons have gone a little bit batty. Most notably, Nemesaur Zenza. Oh God, Nick, pronounce this for me, would you?
Words.
Yeah, they don't have a dynasty keyword.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
They worked it in.
Yeah,
So-
same with the anything Triarch. Yeah.
Right.
We'll get to units later. What am I pronouncing?
Zandrek. So, most notably, Nemosaurus Zandrek is the craziest of the woken up warlords.
And can I just say that the craziest is like really crazy
Oh yeah,
because they're all bonkers.
he still thinks that he's in the.
They're a few circuits short of a motherboard, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he still thinks that he's a Necroteer. He still thinks every battle he fights is a civil war to him. So he that's the way he understands it. And Vanguard Oberon is fealty sworn to this guy, and just doesn't have the heart to even try.
No, man, I don't want to break his heart.
Yeah, he's no, he's doing his thing. It's good for our dynasty. But I love that idea that they've gone crazy.
Yeah, you gotta wonder, right? Because when you start melding consciousness with machinery, you gotta measure is there a few circuits that are loose? Is he actually crazy? Did somebody rewire his thing so all he sees is other Necrons?
Well, and to further this, you have things like the Destroyer virus, which
Blair.
no,
What's the Destroyer virus?
so it's
Never heard of this one before.
yeah, it's totally a thing. Yeah, so it's just is it a destroy? No, it's more of this mania. So it's not a virus, but more of a disease. It's a mental health issue
It's genetic.
For robots.
for robots, where they just
Robots.
they become obsessed with destruction. There's no empire building in.
You could say they have an
They
appetite.
turned into corn robots.
They haven't.
We both made jokes at the same time.
Yeah.
Paul, which one was better?
Honestly, appetite for destruction, but I'm a sucker for a reference, as the Michael Winslow brain breaking demonstrates. But so the Destroyer Lords, they have this sort of mania with destruction, and just
And I really like how that's worded in the 8th edition codex.
which is it's
Hardwired hatred.
yeah. So they're just losing their minds. There's the flare virus, which just makes them want to re-establish flesh on their bodies.
You want to talk about grimdark?
Yeah.
Played ones have to be some of the most grimdarkiest models, and I think we talked about them in one of our earliest podcasts with the Snips.
Yeah, the Snips and the disco dancers.
But I've seen some really good conversions where people went a little bit more overboard on the dead skin hanging off of the Necron torso.
This is some Hannibal stuff right here.
Oh yeah, I love it.
But I've seen people do more.
But I just the idea of
I made a raincoat out of your skin and now I'm wearing it.
all right, let's just get it down to exactly what it is. We have a soulless robot with a mental defect and knife fingers that is dressing itself in people's skin.
Yeah, see, gun control isn't the answer. We need to deal with our mental health issues.
I mean, you're not wrong. So these are the sorts of things that have kind of entered into the Necrons as they've evolved in the fluff, and as they've sort of woken up in the actual game setting. So it's fun to see how that's coalesced into the model range, how that's sort of reflected in the rules. So yeah,
Cool. So what kind of notable battles in the fluff were the Necrons involved in? Because they seem to be, again, back to that Lovecraftian horror theme, more of the shadow that, they'll kill an entire world and then nobody knows what happened.
yeah, and
Are we talking modern battles? Or
any battles,
ancient battles?
any battles involving the Necrons in the 40th millennium.
Okay, so modern.
Yeah.
yeah. I find that in the fluff they try to make reasons for the Necrons to be fighting the Tyranids a lot, because they manufacture those reasons. One of the most fun ones, and it's I've referenced it a couple of times on the podcast, is the one where they team up with the Blood Angels.
and it's the Traveler. God, what's his name?
Anarchy.
Yeah, Anarchy, the Traveler, and the Mephrit dynasty teaming up with the Blood Angels.
Wasn't Traz in there too?
He's everywhere.
Yeah, that's fair.
And like, yeah, they team up to fight Hive Fleet Leviathan. So it's this big multi-theater battle. Some Sisters of Battle are there, and they're trying to get this giant sort of space lens online to eradicate like a huge part of the fleet.
Are you saying that they're trying to use a giant magnifying lens to burn bugs?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm really glad you got that.
I've never heard that part of the fluff before.
Oh yeah, no, it's
That's
like
hilarious.
yeah, and that's where they introduce another.
Gotta come up with something on your lunch hour.
I guess.
Thanks, G-Dub.
The GW head writer's just out sitting on the pavement, just burning bugs with his glasses. I've got a great idea.
I'm a Necron.
So yeah, that's
Look at those ants squirm.
So, well, this is a thing that happens.
A space lens.
It's this like huge piece of technology that's like has Imperial stuff like built over it, but like
It's at least the size of Paul's wingspan.
yeah, you guys can't see it, but it's like 6 feet. This is 6 feet probably. Yeah,
Huge.
Are we as tall as our arm length?
Yeah, roundabout.
I feel like I'm taller than that.
You're not though. Nick, put your arms down. The cool thing about this fluff is it introduces another Satan that we hadn't seen before. It's the Burning One.
Not Burning Man.
No, the Burning One. But he hangs out with. So the formation that they presented is 2 Cryptex and him.
I don't like that word, formation.
Okay, well it's done now. But
It's all over.
Yeah,
Do you want cocaine?
No,
he's just scratching his nose,
Okay,
dude.
it's a weird.
I'm just like the allergy man.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Can't mess with it.
But like the idea is that these 2 Cryptex were the keeper of this Satan shard. There's a piece of war gear in that book called the God Shackle, which gives +1 toughness, +1 strength to a Satan. Like it's a cool idea, and it just like modified that Satan shard a little bit. There's another one that's just like super fun. I think I've mentioned this one before, where it's a bunch of Tau fighting Necrons, and they wipe out the Necrons on this planet, and so I'm just going to read it right out of the Codex. How the Satek dynasty expands into Tau space and invades the Kroot-held world of Karnak. Though the Kroot win the first engagements, their attempt to dine upon the living metal of their victims has hideous results as nanoscarab plagues sweep through their ranks.
You can't eat metal, Kroot.
But they do it, and it's just horrifying.
They try.
To like horrifying results. Like it's just one of my favorite bits of fluff because
It's like the Borg.
what's the end of the fly? Like
How do you eat metal? I guess Kroot have really sharp beaks, but still.
Well, it's just who
We're
knows?
just trying, man.
Also, I
Just
didn't
seeing if
realize-
there's something inside
I
the...
did not realize the Necrons had nanites.
Yeah. There's well, that's what mind shackle scarabs are.
No, mind shackle scarabs are scarabs.
But they like there's a whole it all gets smaller.
You know what the funniest one of the biggest mistranslations is that I could never figure out? Like, I was rewatching Ghost in the Shell. We're going on a tangent here. Back to anime.
Come with us. It's tangent time.
And they kept talking about micro machines. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about.
nano machine.
And then they actually like explained what micro machines are. I'm like, oh, they're nanites. They were just because Ghost in the Shell's from the early '90s. So you're like, oh,
We didn't measure in nano back then.
yeah, exactly. So okay, they're nanites, but you didn't have a word for it, so they're micro machines. Because micro machines just makes me think of those like tiny little toy cars.
Yeah.
It's called micro machines. I was like, micro machines. There's industries built around building toy Tonka trucks. I don't get it. Still haven't seen the new movie.
But no, I'm not gonna.
Apparently, it's good.
Like, I'll check it out on Netflix.
Yeah, when it comes up on Netflix.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna spend money.
Free's better than money.
Yeah, you know.
Well, we pay for Netflix.
Yeah, but come on now. Exponential return on that one.
Yeah, just make something easier for me to buy than it is to pirate, and I'll just pay for it.
It's true, isn't it?
Yep.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah, and like going back to the notable battles in the Codex, there's a lot of early battles where there are no survivors, which kind of leads to like why the Necrons have been hidden for so long, is that they leave no survivors. So, like, you will just find a place where, like, oh, Tech Magos went here to explore stuff, and there's nothing but hunks of bone and broken mechanandroids.
Because the weapons they use are terrifying.
Yeah,
there's a reason why their main gun is called the Flare.
Yeah, it breaks stuff down to its, like...
Do you guys know who Ramsay Bolton is? He gets fired out of these guns.
He's just breaking people down to the constituent atoms. Like, yeah, that's the thing. It, like, strips away layers of atoms. So it...
Do you get that reference?
No, not at all.
It's okay.
Ramsay Bolton is a character
no,
in
this
Game
is
of
not.
Thrones
This is
who
not
is
the
a sadist who likes flaying people alive.
Got it.
No,
Yeah,
this is not
don't
what
watch
we're
that
doing.
show.
Though there's a great podcast called something that I will tell you about later. I'm not going to plug another podcast for free.
Yeah.
You forgot what it was called.
Sure did. And then I used my rage to hide my incompetence.
So I think that pretty much sums up the fluff.
Yeah, if there's something I didn't cover, you've got Google.
No, they don't. That's why they come to us.
Oh, okay. Well, if
Google brought them to us.
Go to... oh, God, I'm trying to think of one of those old, terrible search engines we learned about in elementary school.
Libraries?
Go to Web Crawler and search for Necrons on there.
Go to
Web
Lycos.
Crawlers- Yeah. Web Crawler and Lycos are still active. I will be wowed.
I'm gonna look that up right now. But do you guys want to get into the rules? Actually,
Yeah, so Necrons in 8th edition are really cool. So Reanimation Protocols, besides Phase Out, Reanimation Protocols is like the Necron rule that defines them as a faction in the 40k universe. So in the old 3rd, 4th edition rules, Reanimation Protocols was if a Necron guy dies, it's... Oh my god, Lycos still works. If a model is removed as a casualty, you don't remove it. Well, you could remove it and place like a dice marker marking how many people from a unit died.
You just lay them down.
Yeah, you just lay them down on your
knock
side.
them over.
And then at the end of your turn, you roll a d6 for each unit that has been laid down such. If there's no models left alive in the unit's gone. And if the unit falls back, no units can be resurrected. Then on a 5-up, you just place the model back up.
It was on a 4-up. In 3rd edition, it was 4-up.
Oh,
It was really good.
yeah, that's why I hated Necron so much.
Yeah.
Then they kind of changed it to a constant feel no pain in 7th edition, which really didn't... I never felt that
it didn't. It
didn't feel right.
Yeah. I mean, overall, the army in 7th edition played the way that I wanted it to. It was just really... it's demoralizing to play against. And it still is in 8th edition. But the 8th edition reanimation protocol happens at the end of the movement phase, yes?
No, it happens at the beginning of the turn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And if a model fails its reanimation protocols, you don't remove it, and it can attempt it again the next turn.
Yeah, so that leads me to believe that there are two kinds of warrior blobs. Ones that are 15 or larger, or bad ones.
Yep. I think back to the nanite point, this really represents the nanite.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, all right, sure, you took out a giant chunk of that Necron's torso, and first turn, damage was too great. The nanites can't repair it. Second time, still working on it. Third time, he gets back up, and you're like, oh, shit.
And, like,
This rule also simulates the 3rd edition version where you can't get back up if your unit's gone.
Yes.
It's the same thing in here. It's
Exactly. It
completely
is the same
destroyed.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Which I like.
Good luck doing, like, 20 wounds to that unit. Especially if you've got a Cryptek nearby.
You see my Fire Raptor?
Yeah, I've seen your Fire Raptor. Alright, you know what? I'm just going to math it out when I go home.
Yeah, the Cryptek just gives the invuln save,
Plus-
but he adds to their reanimation protocol saves.
Yeah, so more so into the rules, we're very much... There's only one troop unit?
2. There's Immortals and Warriors.
Oh, because Immortals are new as troops.
They were troops in the last edition.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, they
Nick doesn't
changed
know anything he's talking about.
Yeah, they were troops.
So a couple more key rules for the Necrons are living metal, which applies to most of their vehicles. At the beginning of your turn, the unit recovers 1 wound lost earlier in the battle. Pretty cool.
Yep, really good.
I love it on my Helldrake. Same rule.
Yep.
Different wording. They have some powers of the Satan. They've got some cool special characters, an Overlord, a Lord.
Yeah, and those guys are different by their special rule. One just adds 1 to your advances, and you've got it right there. You want to...
Yeah, so my will be done. That's kind of lame, but so one friendly infantry unit within 6 inches of this model, you can add 1 to the advanced charge and to hit rolls of that unit. Oh, I didn't see the to hit rolls part.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
So that represents just a lord, like an overlord, just being like, these guys are the best.
Yeah. And then the Lord, not the Overlord, has 1 less wound and hits on 3s instead of 2s. And you can reroll failed morale tests for friendly units within there. And it has a resurrection orb.
Mm-hmm. Resurrection Orb lets you not reroll your animation protocols, or just do an entirely new one.
Yeah, once per battle, immediately after you've made your reanimation protocol roll. So at the beginning of your turn, you make your reanimation protocol rolls. Then you activate the res orb. Then you can make more reanimation protocol rolls.
Jeez, that's ridiculous.
And
So this is the theme, and I was salivating over this earlier. It's just dreaming up an army, and we'll talk about more characters later, where it's just like 2 units of 20 warriors running around, never dying.
yeah,
Do you have an imagination?
Like,
he does. I've seen him do it. But an interesting thing here that I want to just call out really quick is the difference between an overlord and a lord is the to hit roll. So mostly everything in the old codex was weapon skill, ballistic skill 4, with the exception of the overlords, which had 5. So it's fun to see that carry over. I was a little bit worried that we were going to get everything bumped down to like 3s again. So yeah, that's just like nice to see that they're hitting on 2s and all around.
Yeah. So beyond that, the Necrons can call upon insane scientists called Crypteks.
Yep.
They're pretty cool. They got some cool rules. Destroyers, they have destroyer lords, and then a couple different types of destroyers.
Yeah,
And then actually quite a few special characters.
Well, I think we should mention that the destroyers have a jet bike body, essentially. They have, if you look at the models, it's the old Tomb
Throwback.
Spider.
throwback to 3rd edition.
Yeah,
It very much is.
it's the old Tomb Spider carapace. So when they updated it for 7th edition, they kept that carapace on the destroyers, but did away with it in the Tomb Spiders.
Yeah.
So that's like a fun design element from way back that you can see.
So then we've got a bunch of cool special characters. We're going to save one for later.
Yep.
We'll get to that later. But I really like the model for Illuminor. I used to think it was Illuminator. But it's not.
Illuminol.
It's Illuminor Caesaris.
Yeah. So he's the architect behind the biotransference. So the idea and the technology came from the Satan, but the actual process and where the rubber meets the road, all of that was Illuminor.
Yeah, so that's...
And
Which,
he's part of the key to making these invincible warrior units.
yeah, and like the thing is, you think about that is the most evil. That's the most evil being in that race. Where it's like, yeah, sure, we made this like terrible deal with Satan, but this guy's like, okay, I'm gonna figure out the logistics of this for you. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the most evil.
So you're, just to be clear for everybody, your reanimation protocols is you come back on a 5 or 6. Cryptek gives you +1. Illuminor gives you another +1. So you're coming back on 3s.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
No. So this is what I was saying earlier. A unit cannot benefit from both the Master Technomancer and Technomancer abilities at the same time.
Okay.
So
it's
it
still
does
always
stop you
4s.
from stacking.
So you still
Adam
do-
is just honing in on cheese immediately.
I know. You can't even help
Of
it.
course. It's interesting that it doesn't say that in the Technomancer one.
Right.
For the
which
Cryptek.
makes me think that if you have 2 Crypteks...
But it's not a different rule.
Oh, no. So it adds +1 to reanimation protocols for models within a friendly Cryptek.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have 2, you don't
Within
you
3
don't,
inches.
you don't get to stack.
Yeah, within 3 inches of this Cryptek, yeah.
I'm sorry for my creaky chair. It broke. Paul sat on it.
But you
'cause I got
still,
a big dumper.
still doing a Cryptek on a Lord with Resorb. 4s
It's-
re-rolling.
yeah,
so
you're-
good.
Yeah, honestly, I think you only need one or the other. If you're doing a big blob, I feel like a Resorb.
No. Just go
Do
all in.
both.
No,
Just
don't
go all in. And then use a Ghost Arc.
go start.
So the mainstay
The final key.
the mainstay of the Necron army are warriors. I
Yeah,
don't think
let's-
I've ever seen a Necron army without warriors in it.
No, because they're
Except for that one time where a guy brought like 24 wraiths to an ITC tournament, and I was like, okay, that's fun.
Yeah, but that's again, that's the kind of person that doesn't realize you need an opponent to play this game. Yeah, a
You ever
Necron.
tried to play Warhammer by yourself?
Yeah,
Just like mathing out, like just sitting there with models on both sides of the table and like rolling some dice and realizing I hate my life. And
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know what I'm
it's-
doing with myself.
It's because you really want us around, and you really wish you had us around to play games.
Well, it's true, but I've like tried to like sit down and like math out stuff, and I'm a very
tactile human being.
tactile human being, so I'll like set up models here and set up models there and be like, oh,
What am I
what
doing?
am I doing? I can do this.
I
in
need a
Excel.
one-player board game.
Yeah, like I've done that at work before, where it's like, all right, I'm going to set up an Excel sheet that is a Space Marine.
Yeah, I've definitely set up the Excel spreadsheet.
Yep. But a warrior, speaking of Space Marine, is essentially a Space Marine across the board, except his movement is slower, and his leadership.
Is really good, and his save is lower.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
he's very different.
Oh. Yeah.
And he also has the Necron faction keyword,
Yeah. So basically, forget everything I just said.
and he has a Gauss flare.
Okay. You know what? What's a God's Flare do? Just tell me.
Same as a bolter, but has AP.
No, it
Yeah.
flays Gauss.
Oh, good. Gauss. Rhymes with
Gauss.
house.
Gauss.
Gauss.
Mouse.
Gauss.
Dr. Seuss?
Gauss.
Gauss.
You know what? It's English.
It's not
have
English,
I said,
it's German.
Have I said the Scene Bean or Sean Bond thing on the podcast before?
Okay.
We're not going there.
No, his
wanna
name
go
should
there?
rhyme.
Dad, help.
His name, Sean Bond's. Sean Bean's name looks like it should rhyme, but doesn't.
Right.
Scene
true.
Bean?
It's either Scene Bean or Sean Bond. You can't have it both ways. I don't care if it's another language.
So, moving on.
So, what's a warrior's strength is his no.
4.
Yeah. A warrior's. God. This is the worst.
That has been thrown.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Just an ass.
But a warrior's greatest strength, beyond the characteristic, is the fact that you can bump this squad up to 20. Good luck getting 20 warriors off the table before reanimation protocols can start being rolled.
Yeah. Which actually is probably more likely now that that what's it called? Morale is a thing.
Yeah, because they're
If you
still
can
suffering
kill
from
10 of
morale.
them,
But if you're coupling it with a lord, then they're auto passing morale tests.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no, they're re-rolling failed morale.
And then they do another reanimation protocol.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the thing. Like, they're a tough army. Their damage output's not super high.
imagine-
So I don't really want to sit here and go through every unit by unit in this codex. So why don't we?
Can we talk about...
Yeah, I was going to say let's pick out a unit each that we like to talk about and go from there.
Sure.
go for it.
Paul,
Why are you looking at Adam?
they can't tell.
Oh,
They're listening to us.
so I'm going to be crappy and pick 2. 1, the Death Marks. I really like this unit. I've always liked this unit. They are the snipers. 1, they don't have a dynasty keyword. Yes, they do. But they do. Scratch that. But in the fluff, they have their own sort of cabals and cadres. There's a bit in the fluff where, like, to hire them, they might have the weirdest price. Like, we need the last word of a dying man. It's like, holy crap, that's super hardcore. You guys are metal. But then the rules wise, they are the hunters from hyperspace. So if someone deep strikes in a phase other than the deployment phase,
Did you read what it's called?
it's always been that.
No. But okay, so what do we deploy Terminators into?
The teleportarium.
We deploy Death Marks into the hyperspace oubliette.
If you just
Why are they using French castle construction terms? I don't know.
If you want to do yourself one better, we can just take a brief aside and look where the flayed ones come from. Like, please read it out for the class.
The charnel pocket dimension.
Yeah, it's just gore and meat and just horrible.
So here's an interesting thing for
All in a pocket.
for the Death Mark rule, and I do see some issues here going on. So, did you finish explaining ethereal interception, or did I interrupt you?
No, I was doing Hunters from Hyperspace,
Okay.
which
Continue.
just allows you to set up from Deep Strike.
Right.
But they also have another one where they can. The idea is they disrupt other people arriving through teleportation or other Deep Strike means. And Nick, do you want to take that?
Right. So when an enemy unit is set up, other than deployment or when disembarking, because that would be dumb. You're like,
Yeah.
I deploy this unit. I deploy Death Marks, and I shoot at you before the game begins.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Be kind of cool. So you can immediately set up a unit of Death Marks that were set up in the hyperspace oubliette on the battlefield. Now here's where I see a little problem. So if you're like, I'm going to bring the Death Marks in, you have to be anywhere 9 inches away from all enemy models and within 12 of the enemy unit that is just set up.
Right, so you've got a 3-inch ban.
But not even. It might not be possible to be more than 9 inches away from an enemy model and within 12 inches of an enemy unit.
Then you can't do it.
So that's the thing with 8th. So if you're like, I want to bring in these Terminators,
If there's not, it's
if there's nowhere to set them up,
they don't come in.
or do you have to set them up somewhere else?
What do you
But
mean?
this is the thing. There's no. If it has to be 9 inches away, but less than 12,
Yeah.
then there's a 3-inch ban.
No, because it's within 12 inches of the enemy unit.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the enemy unit is in the middle of a whole bunch of guys and you do ethereal interception and there's nowhere to place them that is both within 12 of the enemy unit and outside of 9 of all enemy
Then
units.
there's no viable place for them, so they can't be placed.
Right. But if you had declared I'm bringing them in to intercept those guys.
Oh, do they die?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just what
I don't
fly.
think so.
No, it's just one of those weird things.
No, because you don't have to pick the unit and wait for it to come in. It's just when a unit does that, you can choose to do it or not.
Yeah, it's not like they murked a bunch.
That's fair. So then they can make an out-of-sequence shooting attack immediately.
Right. And
only against the unit that deep struck.
But
Or teleported. Or arrived from their own hyperspace oubliette.
yeah,
Or
you.
the charnel pocket dimension.
I wonder how many how you could daisy chain death marks off death marks.
Oh my god.
Right? Hilarious. But now, does this get any bonuses to... No.
There's no bonuses, which I thought was weird.
But the nice thing about this is they shoot in their next shooting phase as normal. Previously, they couldn't shoot in the next phase, I don't think.
Right.
But this is 8th edition where GW says, yes,
Yes, you can.
yes you can.
And also, the Synaptic Disruptor Disintegrator?
Disintegrator.
Yeah, great gun. Just
No disintegrations. The worst bounty hunters ever.
these guys, they're not bounty hunters, they're assassins.
Yeah, but...
I get it.
know
Bosk
what-
is a psychopath who wanted to just vaporize everybody.
Yeah, Bosk was in, like... the Clone Wars, and he was really weird.
Yeah, he's nuts.
No, that Clone Wars was not for children.
Mm-mm.
Man.
Also,
So they're guns.
Bosk isn't wearing shoes in that scene. That's nuts. You're meeting Darth Vader. Put on some shoes.
Doesn't need shoes. He's a giant space lizard.
Still shoes? I'm a giant pink earth monkey.
Everyone's wearing hats.
Don't
Boba Fett's wearing a hat. Why don't he take his hat off when he's meeting Darth Vader?
He made up that rule anyways.
What?
Why is that respectful?
Take
Why does he have
off
like a really weird hat?
Who?
I don't know. Anybody.
It's a helmet.
Because it gets in the way between your brain and God.
Who
That's
thought
why
of
you don't
that?
wear hats in church. The Pope? I don't know.
But he's got the biggest hat of them all.
Takes it off in church.
Yeah, I suppose. All right. Gone to some strange places.
So they're guns.
So that they're guns. They have a version of rending. So if you roll a 6 to wound, causes an additional mortal wound.
That is the
amazing.
best version of Brendan.
It's just a headshot. It's just like a dude's brain melting out his ears.
Especially when they can target characters, even if they're not the closest.
Yeah, because they're snipers. So if Nick ever tries that sneaky stuff with a sorcerer, I melt the sorcerer's brain.
Try to.
Shit.
How many wounds is that? 4?
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
He's
So-
got 5 ones.
So 5 guys, double tapping.
5 Guys makes nice burgers. And they give you lots of fries.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've never actually had them.
Yeah, 5 robots shooting synaptic disintegrators at a sorcerer.
You guys had Banh Mi Boys?
I'm trying so hard to just step over all of this.
No, seriously, have you had Banh Mi Boys?
Yeah, I've had Banh Mi
I love
Boys.
that place.
Yeah.
You've heard of it, you haven't had it.
Yeah.
Okay, you go try it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I love that scene in True Detective where they're just eating banh mi. Like, just... No, I have had banh mi boys.
Okay, so since you were doing 2, I'm going to pick 1 before you do your second one.
Okay.
Do you have the pork belly one?
Fair?
Well, this is not the banh mi podcast.
Nick
Adam-
doesn't want to go to sleep tonight.
No. Nick, are you having bad dreams?
Right now, yes. I see them in my waking hours.
So the Ghost Arc. This completes the triumvirate of awesome of the never dying
The
Necron.
triumvirate of cheese. You got some Havarti, some brie, and a nice blue.
Hey-oh. I don't like blue
I'm
cheese.
hungry again.
So quantum shielding.
ate
Have
a
we
pizza.
explained this yet? Quantum shielding? No, we haven't, right?
No, let's get on that.
We left that
So this
for
is
you.
so good. This is every vehicle has this basically.
I hate this rule.
I love this rule.
And the way it works is, I'm going to read it straight up. Each time this model suffers damage from an unsaved wound, roll a d6. If the result is less than the damage inflicted by the attack, the damage is ignored. For example, I take my last cannon and I shoot you and I roll a 4 for damage. If I roll a 3 or less, it's ignored.
Or if you hit a Necron vehicle with a Reaper chainsword,
It does not damage.
it does no damage. Well, no, because you could still roll a 6.
Yeah.
But if I hit you with a volcano cannon, which does 2d6 damage, and I rolled a 7, it automatically does no damage.
Yeah.
Silly, right?
I love it. I think it's a really good way to make what are like pretty fragile vehicles way more durable.
Yeah, because only tough to 6.
Oh, they are only
They have a
toughness
lot
6.
of wounds, though.
14 for
Yeah.
a Ghost Arc? No, that's not a lot. And they're power level 8.
Yeah, like
They're pretty pricey for 14 wounds.
so. This is what I'm saying. Like
Hull points.
it's a really interesting way to make something more durable and make it feel more advanced.
Yeah, heavy bolters.
Have you?
Autocannons.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
So the way it completes the triumvirate of awesome when it comes to the never dying Necrons is there's 2 ways you can roll with this bad boy, and it's you can put your guys inside it for them to kind of gain a benefit and come back to life, or you can just be next to a unit within 3 inches of a warrior's unit, and you how does it work? You can make a reanimation protocols roll for any of the slain models in that unit
Yeah, so you're getting another reanimation protocol.
at the end of your movement phase.
And that is like 3 inches seems pretty close, but the Ghost Arc has a really big footprint. Like you can.
Oh, you'll be within 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's unit.
Right.
It's not models. That's another thing I've noticed a lot, too, is that the whole models within the bubble is gone.
Yeah,
It's very much the unit now.
well, you've got to watch that because there's some rules that like make sure that the entire unit has to be in the bubble. Another thing I've noticed is that you have to watch your rerolls. So it'll be like you get to reroll your ones in the shooting phase,
Yeah.
which means you don't get to reroll your ones on Overwatch, which is like something that you just need to be mindful of.
Yeah.
Like, so read your rules, guys.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Because I've double checked that for Chaos. It's just ones to hit in the shooting, Overwatch, and fight phase.
Right.
What's combat? There's no combat phase.
Wrap them up into one.
No.
Anyway, so that's my unit. The transport, the Ghost Ark.
Nick, what did you want to talk about?
So I'm going to talk about. I kind of want to steal the one Paul's going to talk about just to piss him off.
I'll do it. I don't care.
What he's doing is he's turning the pages, and each page he turns to, he looks at Paul to see if it's the one.
I'm not actually looking at Paul.
I'm going to edit out all these page turns. Oh my god, I hate you so much.
I want to talk about wraiths.
Yeah! Those are the ones I want to talk about.
I was gonna. It was a toss up between wraiths and flayed ones.
Yeah, as long as we're talking about wraiths, I don't care.
So wraiths are one of the coolest units that. Yeah, they're just really cool, and the reason they're really cool is they have this rule called wraith form, and conceptually, it's one of the coolest rules. They're not Necrons; they are Necrons, but they don't have reanimation protocol. They are. I don't think we talked about the canoptic stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of units in Necron, the Necron army list, that have the canoptic word ahead of them, and essentially they're just janitors.
Yeah, they're the things that like scutter around the tomb worlds, and they just do work. Fun tidbit to notice is that there is a canoptic keyword, which makes me excited for the codex.
So these are robots,
right?
They have no consciousness. Yeah, these are definitely robots.
They're robots. They're the squiddy things from the Matrix.
Yeah.
It's like.
So they have the rule Wraith form, which grants them a 3-up invulnerable save, and they can move across models and terrain as if they were not there.
That's huge, honestly.
It really is, and I think
that's what they did before, no?
Yeah, it is, but it's always been like this, and it's one of the coolest things because I remember, again, back to Dawn of War, because Dawn of War, the first one, was like an amazing game. It was so much fun to play.
That game was such a good holding pattern for me.
Yeah,
like I wasn't at the time that came out. I wasn't playing the game, like the tabletop game, but I was working as a security guard. I would take my laptop. I would do a 12-hour overnight shift, and I would just Space Marine all over the place.
Yeah. So in that game, you could get wraiths, and wraiths have also evolved. They used to be more of like they used to not be a robot, and they used to clearly be a Necron guy who kind of had this elongated spine and kind of hovered. Didn't really like exist in our reality. And in the game, it would just move through everything. Walls, hills, didn't matter. It was just like nothing on the map existed. It was just he needed to be where he wanted to be. Which is just super cool to think about because he's there.
You could take units of one, couldn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They were like 1 to 3.
They were kind of like the scouts.
Yeah.
They were the Necron scouts, and in the game they had the ability where you could activate Wraith form, and they were invulnerable to all damage, but couldn't
touch anything.
Couldn't do damage.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. And they were really good in 7th edition, because they had rending.
They've taken a bit of a hit in combat effectiveness.
Yeah, they definitely did. But they're fast, they're cheap, they're tough. They've got 3 wounds, a 3-up invulnerable. I don't even know why they... Oh, because I guess cover. Mm-hmm. They have an armor save because their cover save could technically get to a 2-up.
Yep.
How?
If
night fighting and
night
cover
fighting doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
in city fight, if infantry... No, they're not infantry either.
It can happen.
It can happen.
Maybe, somehow.
I doubt it.
Some way.
It could happen.
In the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're just cool units. Now they're more like giant spiders.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good way to describe them.
Yeah.
Spiders that float.
Mm-hmm.
So the most terrifying spiders. But I've also seen some fantastic conversions where they've kind of been inverted and turned into scorpions.
Yeah, I thought
Which
of
are
it.
also arachnids. Super cool.
I thought about doing that with mine. Whip coils took a really big hit. So instead of bumping your initiative up to 6, which meant you were fighting before most everything, now it just allows you to fight even after you've been slain, which is pretty cool. But then
it's only
It's a one shot.
well, no. If the bearer is slain in the fight phase before it made its attacks, and if
Right.
you're getting charged,
you with a unit that can go through
yeah,
terrain, you done messed up.
you made a mistake. So I don't understand this rule because wraiths should never get charged. They should always be striking first.
Mm-hmm.
I guess unless it's like a subsequent round of combat.
Yeah, honestly, I would have been happier if it just acted like a chainsword.
Yeah.
Give me
Although
more.
But
Give me more dice.
transdimensional beamers, that's pretty good now.
Yeah, because they can shoot into combat, so you can give them those.
That's a particle caster.
Sorry, particle caster.
Yeah.
But it's still a strength 6 pistol.
Yeah, but the transdimensional beamer, transdimensional beamer is heavy D3, strength 4, AP -3, at 1 damage, and all to wound rolls of 6 up cause a mortal wound, in addition to any other damage.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
So wraiths in 7th edition, you did not want to see them on the other side of the battlefield.
Mm-mm.
Now they're still cool. They're still pretty cheap. They're only 6 power level for 3 wraiths.
Yeah.
So they're only 2 power level apiece, which... Have you been looking at power level and breaking it down by model?
I have not.
Because Battlescribe does that, and it's really weird, because when I start putting my Deathwatch army together, it's like, 1 Deathwatch Marine is worth 2 power level?
That's not right.
And you're like, ugh. And then you're looking at the Canoptic Wraith, and 1 Wraith is worth 2 power level. And you're like, what is going on? So they're relatively cheap. They're skirmishers. They're meant to, tie up and pick out weak units, like maybe a unit of Havocs or Devastators or something like that.
Yeah, where before they were able to like charge into like Thunderhammer Terminators
Or Knights.
or Knights. Yeah,
Yes, they used to just rip Knights to shreds. So you did not want to see Wraiths on the other end of the table. But now with things like Mortal Wounds, Wraiths, they're still good,
mm-hmm.
but
They're not as good.
they're not as good.
They took a very big hit in my opinion. That being said, they were one of the most demoralizing units to fight against. So
They definitely were.
I'm not super sad to see them take the hit.
No.
Honestly, one of the units that I'm really sad is the Scarabs. They can no longer just like plink a tank to death in a couple of
No?
turns. Yeah, no, they.
I didn't even look at them. So they lost like their Scarabs in 6th and 7th edition. Every time they like hit a tank,
Yeah, you
they
want to
took
just
a hull point off.
Yeah.
Canoptic Scarabs?
Canoptic Scarabs. 3 wounds, 4 attacks. You can have a unit between 3 and 6. And
Oh, it always wounds a target on 5 up unless it would normally wound better. That's not bad.
so that's kind of the same, right?
No.
Walk up to a tank at
They're
strength 3 and
super
go
cheap,
plink,
man.
plink, 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 plink.
They are super
They're
cheap.
super cheap. They're literally... Wait, no, I don't know how to... What's 3 divided by 2?
No, it can't be done.
No, what's 2 divided by 3?
Can't be done.
What's 20 divided by 3?
Here, I'll just tell you the points.
No, I want
They're
Paul to do math.
13 points each.
But I'm trying to calculate power level.
Don't do that.
They're 13 points each. I guess it's like a Space Marine.
Yeah.
No, that
Space Marine that
that
has
does
3
not
wounds,
make sense.
4 attacks. Movement 10. That's pretty cool.
But how are they 2 power level? I guess Space Marines have better guns.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have guns. But yeah,
So, Paul, what was the other unit you wanted to talk about?
it was Wraiths, actually.
Okay, so Paul doesn't get to pick a second unit.
Oh, well, let's talk about the Satan. We spent a lot of time talking about them. I painted one. The biggest thing for me is, they're terrifying in close combat. Their powers are pretty good. One is basically a smite that goes off on 2s. Then there's the seismic. You've got them right there, Adam. You want to read them out to us?
All right, so you roll one's the seismic assault that you were just about to describe.
Yep.
You roll a dice for each model in a unit that's within 24, and on a roll of a 6, they take a mortal wound.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just cool for clearing big units of infantry. Right?
Yeah. So you've got a blob of 30 orcs or a bunch of conscripts, Connor, and you throw that at them. It can do a lot of damage.
Yeah. The other one, Antimatter Meteor, is basically like Smite, but you roll a 2 up to get it off. Easy.
And because it is still closest visible enemy unit, right?
Yeah, right. And it's a little bit longer range, but that's fine. And then Time's Arrow. So literally Time just throws an arrow at you.
No, we've been over this. It's an arrow made up of time. It's a tachyon beam.
Yeah. Comes out of my deflector shield.
I swear to God, you guys. I don't know what happens if you don't knock it off.
You know what tachyon particles are, right?
Like, not intimately, no.
Okay, well, they're what makes Romulan cloaking devices work.
I swear to God. They're never going to find your body, Nick. Tell me what the arrow of tachyons does.
So it's just more mortal wounds. They're all the same. Oh no! Okay, so you roll a dice. If the result is higher than that unit's wounds characteristic, a model from that unit dies.
Now, is that remaining wound characteristic?
It says wound characteristics.
So
I think it's.
Yeah,
I think
it doesn't say remaining wounds.
So it just kills a guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you fire it at Terminators and roll a 3 or higher, then a Terminator dies.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Not
Throw it at a
bad.
1 wound, like basic infantry. If they only got 1 wound, they're just dead, right? Roll
But
two
it's
up,
just
they're dead.
one dude.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, but you're not suffering perils. You're not, like, you just get it off.
Yeah,
So.
it's just, I don't see the utility in that when you could be using the Smite-ish one. Do I get to pick my target?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's pick to do 1 mortal wound or the closest for D3.
No, it's not mortal wound. It's slain.
Slain. Which is pretty cool.
So if you're, I mean, how many wounds do like Sentinels and Killicans have? Right, I think they have 5 each. So if you roll a 6 on them, then that's an entire.
Yeah,
model.
they got to have more than that.
No.
My Killican equivalent has 7 wounds.
But, like,
Killican equivalent, you have a penitent engine, which is not.
So,
It's
but
in there,
like,
isn't it?
you can't shoot that at
Orcs
anything.
are in here.
You can't shoot that at anything like a knight or a vehicle, like.
No,
Which is funny because the tachyon arrow in the old one was like the best.
it was strength 10, AP 1, unlimited range.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
But I love the Satan shards because they're characters. So it's just they have 8 wounds, so you're not going to be able to pick them out unless you've got snipers. They're mean.
And they fly.
Oh, so you pick your powers of the Satan at the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it would depend. If you were facing large blobs of infantry, you take seismic assault. But no, I agree with Adam. I don't see any reason why you would ever take Time's Arrow.
It's not a good power.
No. But again, as we discussed as a group today, codexes are coming out.
Yeah.
That was released today, so we're going to be seeing very, very faction-specific codexes. I want everyone to take a deep breath and realize that these indexes were only released so that everybody had models to play with when 8th edition came out.
And I'm actually excited about that, number one, because it means every army is going to get their kind of unique character and flavor back, whereas right now we're just playing with the models that we have, right?
Yeah, we're learning the rules of 8th. We're learning the basics.
It's great.
Yeah.
But what they said was they're going to release 10 codexes before Christmas.
2 a month, baby.
It's awesome.
There's no brakes on the pain train.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah,
and rumors is Sisters is in the 3rd month of that.
No, that's just bullshit.
Yeah, they've always.
Where did you hear that?
It's just rumors.
Was it Bell of Lost Souls?
It's just rumors.
Was it your sister's army? Did they tell you that?
Was it
They
Bell
did,
of Lost
they did.
Souls?
They
Was
told me
it
that.
was it the DACA forum?
No, neither of those two.
Where was it?
It was not anyone more credible than that.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
But
Did they also say Plastic Sisters?
No. Just codexes.
The thing that I was excited about in that press release was the fact that you're going to start seeing like craft world things again. You're going to start seeing dynasties. All of these armies have specific armies crammed in or implied in the codexes.
They definitely do.
So like why not lean into that and let people have like more flavorful things? Like if you can have 3 or 4 viable versions of Necrons or Sisters, lols, Let's do that. That'll be great.
Yeah.
I agree.
So it's exciting. 8th edition's constantly expanding and moving. I'm really stoked to see what the new codexes are. And if you guys out there in podcast land like the faction focus, if you have a underrepresented faction that you want to talk about, holler at us. We'll get you on the show. You bring the beer.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be crap beer. Don't be bringing us Moosehead.
Yeah.
We got to talk about it. We got to plug it on the show.
Mm-hmm. We just really like craft beer, so we're giving shout outs to stuff that's good. If you hear beer mentioned here, feel free to believe that we like it.
Yeah, go to your local LCBO. Go to Henderson's Brewery. It's great. We had Adam's diaper party there.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a weird fetish thing. It was for his baby. He wanted money for diapers for his baby. I said that out loud, and I was like, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I actually, last night, I met a guy from Henderson's, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, like, a friend of mine had a diaper party there. And he was like, what? And so I just leaned into it. I was like, yeah, no, everyone put on diapers, peed in them. It was cool.
That was like, more funny with the new mustache look.
This was last night, not this morning.
Yeah. I'm a different man after this morning.
But again, leave us a review on iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
We will find you if it's less than 3 stars.
Yeah, I will. I don't know what happens, but it's going to be bad.
Stab him with a mustache hair.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So with that, gentlemen,
let's get into
fun time.
All right. I think everyone knows who's listened to the podcast who we want to talk about, because I don't think a podcast has gone by where I haven't talked about how much I love.
Okay. Let's count to 3.
1.
And I'll say the name that we think we're going to talk about.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Creed!
Richard Nixon.
I am not a crook.
Trazen the Infinite. The best, most trollinest HQ unit that has ever existed.
Trazen the Troll-tastic.
Yep.
So I'm really liking kind of doing the fun times as talking about some characters.
I think that's it's taken us 8 episodes to get a good idea. Let's keep running.
We're not going to do it for every episode, but based off of how much we enjoyed last week's reading from Adam on a special character, I tracked down a nice reading from Trazen the Infinite
Himself?
Yeah,
He wrote
himself.
it?
He wrote it himself. So this is a hyper-scroll message from Trazen the Infinite addressed to Inquisitor Helena Valeria.
Mm-hmm.
I love how these two are talking. The Inquisitor's just like, hey, Trazen, what's up?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think she's Order Xenos. She's probably like Order
Doesn't
Heretics
matter.
or something.
No, she's definitely Xenos.
She is?
Yeah.
Heretic.
Oh, yeah, no, she gets what's coming to her.
Dear lady! Let me express my fulsome appreciation for your most generous gift. It is so very rare to discover another of my own kind that appreciates my work. Therefore, to find an understanding amongst a member of another race is nothing short of a revelation. I realize that you briefly trod my galleries, but the fact that you spotted in so short a time that my Acabrius war collection was lacking 3 regiments of Catachan warriors reveals that you truly have a collector's eye for detail, and to send 5 regiments. Such generosity will allow me to weed out and replace a few of the more substandard pieces in my collection. If I might level a minor criticism, the instructions issued to your gifts were manifestly not as clear as you thought, as most of them had to be forcibly restrained. Sadly, it seems that the lower orders will always behave like an army of invasion, whether that be their purpose or not. However, this is a minor complaint, and seems almost churlish under the circumstances, so please allow me to repay your gift with one of my own. Accompanying this message is the Hyperstone Maze, one of a series of tesseract labyrinths constructed at the height of the Charnovac dynasty. It is a trinket, really, only of interest to scholars such as you and I, but I trust that you will find it amusing. Assuming you have the wit to escape its clutches, of course.
Like, that's a love letter. That's the
Yeah,
funniest.
he's got issues, man.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
So to just give a little bit of backstory for those of you that don't know, so when Trazen kind of goes out to fight, he doesn't go out to destroy stuff. He is straight up stealing things he likes.
And we talked about him in our last episode on the 13th Black Crusade and the fall of Cadia, where he shows up and starts throwing Pokeballs everywhere.
Yep.
Just chilling up on the ledge.
Yeah, just like watching, like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah. Well, more like, who do I want to keep?
I
Yeah.
thought you were going to say, who am I going to do?
He's got a tomb world all to himself called Solemnace.
Solemnness.
And it's a vault world. It's crammed with stasis, like vaults of like curios and just remnants of like long dead civilizations. He's a collector. Like, imagine you mix Megabyte from Reboot with Indiana Jones. You have Trazen the Infinite.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, he's like this just magnificent bastard. Well, like, he steals stuff because he's like, you guys don't know what to do with it.
And we're not even just talking about stuff.
People.
Yeah.
Like,
people are stuff.
yeah. Well,
To
there's...
him.
I mean, everyone loves to reference the fact that in his collection, he's got, like, a giant power-armored figure in bespoke and Baroque armor. Yeah. So it's just, like, the idea of him is so much fun to me. And this is where you see in the fluff, they started giving these overlords and characters actual personalities. And I don't think that it's been better served than Trazen. Just the idea of him cracks me up. Yeah, and at the end of, like, the 13th Black Crusade, he captures Creed, which is really funny.
Not only does he capture Creed, but he releases a whole bunch of Marines from
Heresy
Era Marines.
yeah, which implies that he's been awake for 10,000 years at least.
At least,
I
if
mean,
not
when-
longer.
When we're talking their on button came on, like, it's on a timer of 6 million years. Like,
Yeah.
what's 10,000?
But there's
Yeah.
also, we didn't talk about this earlier in the fluff, there's also a few throwaway references to, like, that clock is broken.
Mm-hmm.
And like some tomb worlds have woken up like millions of years ago and then died out. Some like partially activated earlier, but only like the warriors activated with no upper class.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on in the Necron.
Yeah.
I mean, makes sense.
Also,
Yeah.
something I don't think we mentioned in the Dark Imperium one is that when Gilliman's trying to piece back a calendar, there's like 1,000 years that he can't find.
What do you mean?
Like, it's he's like trying to put together, because he's like such a
All the
historian.
history books he's put
Yeah. And he's trying to like kind of collate a history of the Imperium.
Oh.
And he's like, there might be 1,000 years in here that like we're calculating incorrectly.
So it's Warhammer 39,000.
Maybe, but I think it's it's like a way for the guys writing the fluff to be like, all right, so the dates were wrong. It's because the dates were written down wrong.
Yeah, the warp
Mm-hmm.
demons. Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe the warp did it.
Trazen's fun. Here's another fun thing. I'm just going to list off a few select examples of the most exquisite items in Trazen's collection.
Oh, please do.
A Wraithbone Choir of the Eldar craft world of Atonsar. The preserved head of Ecclesiarch Sebastian Thor. Brother Cassiel of the Blood Angels chapter of Space Marines. Several regiments of Catachan jungle fighters, as previously mentioned. A device containing the entire Hive fleet that launched a Tyranid invasion on the Necron world Vuros. At least one member of the Adeptus Custodes. Several regiments of Tanith's First and Only. A few Salamanders thought lost during the disaster on Clovia, the last Lord Castellan of Cadia, or Sacra Creed, and the Puritan Inquisitor Katrina Greyfax, which we spoke about earlier. So, this guy's a hoarder.
Yeah.
But she's been released now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she was
But
released.
This is
She's spun around.
she's
and,
on loan
well,
from his collection.
This is the thing. As soon as she comes out of her little Pokeball, she points her gun at Trazen and can't shoot it. And Trazen's like, what are you even trying to do? She just is like, oh, I want to kill him so bad.
but there's chaos everywhere.
Yeah, and actually, Greyfax is the one that killed Valerian in the fluff. Like the lady that Trazen was like super into.
Maybe there's something to it.
Ooh.
Maybe we have a love triangle.
I think so.
Who is Greyfax Xenos?
I don't know.
No, I think she's Order Hereticus.
Which would explain why she's killing.
Yeah, she's Order Hereticus.
Yeah,
There you go.
She's a Puritan
You
Inquisitor.
talking,
She's
you talking with
not,
Necrons?
yeah.
Slam.
Look at her hat.
It's got a belt buckle on it,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't even wear belts.
And a candle. Cool. Any more fluff before we do the rules?
We did the rules.
For Trazen?
Oh,
I was like, no, we're going to bed, Adam.
are you trolling? We're all going to bed.
Hey, you can sleep on the couch. I don't care.
That's not a bed. We're just gonna move on. We're just gonna move right on.
So Trazen.
He's called the Infinite because
Of a rule.
well, also
A fluff reason.
yeah, fluff reason. He loves sending out surrogates of himself to do his like fun bidding or just like look at cool stuff. In the game, Adam's gonna tell us how that manifests.
Totally. So it's called Surrogate Hosts. If Trazen the Infinite is slain, roll a d6 on a 2 up. You may choose another friendly Necron infantry character, other than characters that you can only include once in your army. So it can't be a unique special character.
Oh, that sucks.
Well,
Remove that model as if it were slain and place Trazen in its place with D3 wounds remaining. If no such characters remain, or you roll the 1, remove him from play as a casualty.
that's the funniest because that is like a moving Slay the Warlord victory
Yeah,
point.
I mean, and there's no range on this thing,
Mm-mm.
right? It's not like that character has to be right next to you.
No, it was like the Alpha Legion rule in 7th edition.
Which was?
Oh, your warlord dies, choose any character, it's now your warlord.
Yeah.
I love it. I love stuff like that. He's the trolliest.
So the other rules for him, he has a 4-up invuln, he has living metal, and My Will Be Done, which is... so he has a certain dynasty. He's Nihilak.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so Nihilak infantry within 6 inches of him can add the 1 to advanced charge and hit rolls. And you just pick the unit. Be like, that unit, and you do it each turn. You pick a new one. And he's got a pretty cool sword thingy called the
Sword thingy. It's a
Empathetic
war scythe.
Oh, he's got the empathetic obliterator.
Empathic obliterator. There it is.
Oh, it's empathetic. It's empathetic to other people's plights.
It's okay, dude.
That's why, That's why he keeps
understand.
people around instead of killing them. 'Cause he's so empathetic. It's empathic obliterator. It's +2 strength, which makes him strength 7, which is cool. AP -1, and D3 damage. But if he kills a character, each unit within 6 inches of him, friend or foe, that is the same faction as that slain character suffers D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, so my brain immediately goes to Necron on Necron fighting, where Trazen kills another Necron character, and then everybody within 6 inches of that character, all models, all units suffer D3 mortal wounds.
Including himself.
Including himself.
I love it.
If Trazen kills another Necron character in close combat, he takes D3 mortal wounds.
Hilarious. I also love the like model design because if you look at his belt, he's got like a little Tau trinket and like an Eldar rune.
He's a hoarder.
Yeah, he's just like picking up stuff. He's like, no, that's mine.
Other than that, he's pretty standard Lord stats, hitting
He's
on 2s.
77 power level, though. He ain't expensive. Yeah, so that's the Necron focus for this week of the Inches and Cubes podcast. This time, Paul will do the volume equalization better,
Yep.
so my earphones don't blow out when I listen to our own podcast when the ads come on.
Okay, well, you could probably do that like while we're not recording.
I've already said it. I'm just throwing it out there to let these people know
that we're working on
that
these
we're
things.
working on things and we're getting better.
Yes.
And that's what's important.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah, man.
Well, you can say a couple.
It's cool that the Index has the Eldar and the Necrons together,
Yeah.
right? Something to that, Paul?
Yeah.
Explain.
Oh, definitely.
Explain.
Well, they're the ancient enemy. As I said before, the old ones created the Eldar, and they're like the most favored sons of
Which
the
are
old-
highly psychically attuned, maybe specifically because...
because the Necrons are like the warp is anathema to them. So they're like, they have no psychic abilities. They have very little psychic defense.
And that's why they lost the war against the old ones to begin with, is because the old ones had webways. And the Necrons didn't even have faster than light travel.
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
There it is.
One last little note.
So once again, leave us a review. 5 stars. Funny comments.
I'll grow that beard back, I promise.
Please do.
Yeah.
It affects the whole podcast.
It really does. Like, we can't be 3 men with beards now.
Oh, man.
We're now 3 men with 2 beards and a mustache.
It's a good mustache, though.
2 beards, three mustaches, to be fair.
Yeah, you've got a mustache right in your beard.
Is it a mustache if there's a beard accompanying it, though?
Yes,
Or
because
is
you
it
could
just a
have a
beard?
beard with no
That's
mustache.
weird.
Tell it to
was
Abraham
weird.
Lincoln.
Right?
Dead.
Wait, what? When did this happen?
Well, that's all for week 8
Yep.
of Inches and Cubes.
Guys, if you get an idea for 9, just help us out.
By sending us an idea
Yeah, there it is.
to encounterwargaming@gmail.com.
Do we have an email?
Encounter
Encounter
Wargaming does.
does.
Oh, we should probably set up one for us.
But why?
People can email us sexy pictures. I can email us sexy pictures. So I can sign up for better deals at the Gap Outlet and the Duffer Mall. Goodbye, everyone. This has been and will remain Paul Mr. Fist Fowler.
Point and click, Nick.
And Adam Truax, the truest axe to ever axe an axe.
And thanks for joining us. And check back again soon for some more 40K goodness. And remember, it's just inches and cubes.
Like a monkey in a rocket on his way back home.